Hello, my name's Sam Riverside, and today I'm going to do my re-review of MK11. And for those of you that follow my old channel, I'm sorry. I took the videos down. They were poor quality. They were very lazily made, and I was very angry in some of the videos. Today, I want to do a review of MK11 and tell you that the reason that I was gone for YouTube so long was because of MK11 and it being so bad. Not just story, but gameplay and graphic-wise. But I'm going to break that down in my review, so let's get started. So, the story to MK11 picks up where we left off in MKX, with Revenant Raiden, or Dark Raiden, sorry, torturing and imprisoning Shinnok, cuts his head off, and he's just alive as a head. And then it's revealed to us that Kronika has been there this whole time. This goddess figure who's been watching over all the timelines and hasn't planned for a new era, her perfect era of the world with destruction and chaos and da-da-da-da. So, we start out that, and then it cuts to Cassie Cage, another character that I wasn't too fond of when she beat Shinnok back in MKX. But she's training with Sonya. Sonya dies on the mission. Played by Ronda Rousey. Not the best voice actress, but yeah, that happens. And then Scorpion and Sub-Zero take on Sector, and Sector loses. Noob shows up, he loses. And it just goes on with the villains taking out Kronika's lackeys and stuff like that, because she brings back the villains and the good guys, which is fucking stupid, because the villains could have turned on her too. It's not like it's Shao Kahn we're talking about here. So, she takes them out. They go forward. There's this arc with Jax where it's kind of cool, where she convinces him for a new family, a new timeline, so he turns evil for a bit, and then he turns good again. The combat kids, Jackie, Cassie, and Takeda's no longer here. They don't really have much in terms of, like, the story. It's kind of stolen from the fact that, like, the past versions of the previous characters that were Revenants are in this timeline, and they're introduced to their present selves, the ones that aren't Revenants. But let's get in further the story, because it gets very convoluted and fucking confusing. I'm sorry for being all over the place. It's just, this story is fucking forgettable. So, we fast forward through all that. Shao Kahn beats up Kotal and then gets taken out by Katana. We thought he got killed, but apparently he just got blinded. Kotal is now crippled. Jade saves him once, not twice, which is why Kotal is such a bad fucking character. They never give him any wins, even back in X. But anyways, so we progress through the story, and so they get all the way there. They fight all the forces. Baraka's now good, by the way, which doesn't make any fucking sense, but apparently he's good now. And Kronika just reverts the timeline to make it where nothing fucking matters anymore. She was just able to just... Why didn't she do that at the start? It caused so many questions once you break down, like, why aren't the villains given any wins? But we understand this is a Mortal Kombat game, and the good guys need to have their wins. We can't let evil always win. But, like, she was supposed to have foreseen all these timelines, and she just rewinds that, and then still gets her ass kicked by Liu Kang, who crystallizes her, breaks her head off. He makes a new timeline. Then, when the Aftermath expansion comes out, Shang Tsung comes out of the portal, supposed to be a good guy, quote unquote. It's going to help them with the timeline. I don't know why none of them see this coming. Fujin and Nightwolf. Then, the weird time travel mechanics and the shit that doesn't make sense is the story real quick. I just want to do a bit on this. So, Kano dies from Sonya killing his past self, which means his present self can't exist, which is fine. But when Shang Tsung's soul absorbs Nightwolf, the past Nightwolf, the present self still exists. It seems like they just make up these fucking rules as they go along with the story. Like, the story makes no fucking sense. And then they do all these things. They bring Sindel back, who's evil now, which was a controversial decision. And then they made her good again, working with the good guys. And then they fucking make her evil again and turn with Shao Kahn. So that happens. And then Shang Tsung turns on the good guys. And we all saw this coming. But apparently he was in Raiden's form and none of them fucking noticed. None of them know Raiden enough to apparently know when something's off. So he takes the crown. He beats Shao Kahn Sindel. He just soul absorbs them. Like no effort. He beats Kronika, takes the crown. In the canonical ending, Liu Kang kills him and starts a new timeline for MK11. Like, what the fuck is this story? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, why are some things cool or something not? And why would she bring back all the villains when they would just betray her? Like, the real Shao Kahn wouldn't have simped around and called Sindel my darling. He would have just offed her. That's it. And then they do the whole fucking shit with King Jared where Sindel really killed him. It's just a fucking mess. But yeah, that's the story from what all the important bits that I pieced together. But getting into the gameplay, this game, it had such a good idea, such a good roster, such a good setup for a slow MK game. And it got ruined because, number one, you have characters that have 4 combo strings apiece, 4 optimal ones. You have characters that are way overpowered than the others in the roster. Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Jackie Briggs. Jackie Briggs was actually so bad that they banned her in UK tournament use. And then the thing is, everybody has a zone, and zoning was so strong in MK11. If you try to play characters like Shao Kahn or Raiden, and I'll get into them in a second, you can't get in. And you can duck under strings too, which is like, so I'm just going to use my optimal strings, and I'm not going to use anything else, because they can just duck under it. Like, what the fuck? And then you have Shao Kahn and Raiden, who don't get buffed until a year after the fact, to where you can finally use them, they can combo into specials, and then it's too fucking late. They suck. They get outclassed by even the low tier or the training characters. They get outclassed by Scorpion, Sub-Zero, the rest of the roster. It's like, Shao Kahn was supposed to be a pre-order bonus. Why does he stay in D tier in this game? And there are many people that can bait, oh, well, if you use him, yeah, if you use him good and you know how to use him, he's obviously fucking A tier. But that's, you can work with nothing and make something. That's obviously true. But he's Shao Kahn. He doesn't need to be so fucking weak. Anyways, getting into what made this game also atrocious was the DLC characters. You had Fujin with full screen mids. You had Spawn with like a quarter damage. 50% for a 20-hit combo. And you had online matches where people were just playing top tier constantly. And people go, oh, just pick another character. What if I don't want to fucking play Scorpion against everybody all the time? I mean, I love Scorpion, don't get me wrong, but it's like, he's a training wheels character. Of course he's good against other characters. If they zone, you can teleport, da-da-da-da. So, I just got tired of this after a while, and I was playing ranked matches for 4 to 6 hours, and I remember I got so mad that I almost fractured my finger over MK11, especially when Shiva came out, the teleport spam, and I'll show that here. But yeah, I didn't play fighting games for a year and a half. I declined to play with other players because of this shit. Because it was just so meta heavy. You had to start playing Liu Kang. People in my Twitch chat and stuff were like, Liu Kang's not that OP. I was like, hold my beer. I won 7 wins with him, not even trying. He's just good on buttons, let alone anything else. He can teleport, he has zoning, he has buttons. And then you have characters like the DLC, which were finally starting to shape the game up good. And then some of the DLC sucked, but then you had characters like Rain and Melina that were actually going to be helpful to the game, and they fucking canceled it. They shut down the game, which is still being played at Evo, apparently, even though it's dead, but okay. So, yeah, let's get on to more about the DLC characters. Sorry for raining. Um, so, yeah, it's Spawn. Already talked about Spawn, Fujin. Rambo was meh. I was hyped up for him, then it was meh. Terminator was meh. RoboCop was fucking just a zoner. I'll show you some footage of that. Fucking ridiculous. And then, yeah, that was about it. Rain and Melina were good, but by the time they came out, people had lost interest of MK, and the fans aren't happy about MK11. Most people think the game's boring. But I was ready to almost give up on it, but I'll get into that in a minute. No, last section. They kept swearing up and down that MK11 was graphically the best fighting game out there, and that is bullshit. MK11 looks like an uncanny picture horror game. Like these, you can see like it just doesn't look right. Like MKX, in my opinion, looks like a way better game. I don't know why they up the graphics. They they try to make them more realistic. I mean, throughout this, because it just you can see the poor. It's just weird, and all the female characters they remove their femininity. They look like men. It was just kind of weird. And I'm not saying anything against anything like that. It's just the women in MK are supposed to be powerful. They're supposed to be feminine. They should have looked feminine. I'm not saying show cleavage or anything, but they at least should look like women. There was just so much into the marketing of them being not looking like women because of Gamergate and stuff like that. But the last thing is, I don't think MK11 was as disastrous as some people make it out to be. I think it's the biggest failure of MK, especially with all the guest characters: Terminator, RoboCop, Joker, Spawn. You had you had the perfect recipe for a fighting game, and you fucking ruined it. But I'm over it, and I'm excited to play MK1, and I'm going to be playing an MK1 and streaming MK1 as soon as the game drops. But my review of MK11, it's a meh out of 10.